Welcome back, Algebra 2. In this video, we'll be going over how to just quickly make some sketches and identify some key points given a polynomial equation. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're given an equation and it's g of x equals 3x cubed minus 7x squared minus 22x plus 8. So part A is asking us to sketch a graph of the function. So just right off the bat, when I go to make a sketch, I want to find the degree of the polynomial. And if you remember, the degree is the highest exponent. And I see that the highest exponent here is 3. So that means that it's going to be an odd polynomial. So that means that our graph is going to look either like this or something like this. Now, to decide which one it is, I need to look at the leading coefficient. So the leading coefficient of this polynomial is also 3. So since that leading coefficient is positive, so since that 3 in front is positive, our graph is actually going to look a little bit like this one and not like the other one that's drawn here. If it were negative, then it would be that other one, but since it's positive, it's the one that's circled in red. Okay, so now let's make a quick sketch. I would like us to find a point for us to just plot on our graph. And so the easiest point to find would be the y-intercept. Now, if you remember, to find the y-intercept, we need to plug in 0 in for x. And when we do that, we can see that a bunch of these terms actually end up reducing to 0. So this term reduces to 0, this term reduces to 0, this term reduces to 0, and all we're left with is an 8. So g of 0 is 8, which means our y-intercept is at 8. So I'm going to plot that right here. And then I'm going to make just a quick sketch because that's all that they're asking for, is just a quick sketch. Okay, so now it says that they want us to use our calculator to identify any zeros and any relative maximums or minimums. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our graphing calculator. So we're going to click the y equals button, and you can see that I've already got that typed out in there. Once you do that in your calculator, you can go ahead and hit graph. Now, at this time, you might need to pause the video and rewatch anything from before, or pause as you try to follow along with these calculator instructions. Okay, so my graph is a little cut off right now. So to fix that, we're going to click the window button, which is right here. And I don't want to change the window of my x's, but I do want to change the window of my y's, because the minimum y that I see is negative 10. I'm going to change that to negative 100, and hopefully that'll give me a better picture of our graph. And I want the y's to go all the way up to positive 100, and I do want them to go by 10 just because I don't need them to go by ones, so that this way I can get like a nice picture. All right, let's see if that does anything. So let's graph it. Okay, that's a lot better. All right, so just looking at that, I can see that that's a little different than the sketch I have drawn. So I'm going to go ahead and fix my sketch. Let me reference this one more time. So we go down here and up. Whoops. Yep, we go down and up. And then on the other side, we got something like this. Okay, so now my sketch is a little better than what we originally did. So let's go ahead and just identify some zeros. So it looks like I've got some nice clean zeros here. I'm going to go ahead and look at my table. And I can see that I found one of my zeros, and that's at negative 2. Because negative 2 comma 0. So that's one of my x-intercepts. And I'm going to go ahead and click table again and see if I can find another one. Oh, and I found another one right here at 4. So I know 2 of them are at negative 2, 0. And at 4, 0. Or you can just write x equals negative 2 and x equals 4. Okay. let's go back on our graph. Okay, but now I see that I've also got another 0, and it looks like it's somewhere in between 0 and -1. So let's go on my table. Somewhere between 0, I'm sorry, not 0 and -1, 0 and +1. And if I look, if I go in between these two, my y values go from positive to negative. Positive to negative. So that's how I know it's somewhere in between 0 and 1. So to figure out what that 0 is, we're going to click second and the trace button, and we're going to scroll down to 0. We're going to hit enter. And our left bound, I want to move that just slightly to the left of where I think that x-intercept is. So I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to move that slightly to the right of where the x-intercept is. And then the third time it says guess, I'm going to place the cursor right about where I think the x-intercept is. So I'm going to hit enter. And it says that my 0 is at my 0 or my x-intercept is at x equals 0.3333, repeating. And if you know, that's a fraction of 1/3. So I've also got a 0 at x equals 1/3. So we can put 1/3, comma 0. Okay. Now let's go ahead and find our relative maximums and our relative minimums. It looks like I've got one of each. So we're going to click the second and the trace button one more time. Let's find our maximum first. So we're going to go down to 4, hit enter. And I've got a maximum over here. So my maximum is like right where the cursor is. So I want to put my left bound slightly to the left of where that is. Hit enter. And I'm going to put my right bound slightly to the right of where that maximum is. Hit enter. And then I'm going to put the cursor right above or right on the point where I think that maximum occurs. And there's my maximum. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that in my answers. So I've got a relative max at -0.968, comma 20.02. And I just rounded. Okay, now let's find our relative minimum. So again, second trace. This time we're going to go down and hit the minimum. Our left bound is going to be slightly to the left of where that point is. So I'm going to hit enter here. And then our right bound is going to be slightly to the right of where that minimum point is. Hit enter. And the lowest point on my graph is going to be here. I'm going to put that right above where I think that is. And it says that I've got a minimum at x equals 2.52. And the y value is -43.88. Okay, thanks for watching. Go ahead and try the next 2 examples on your